I've done just over 4 hours on my bike now, and the next service interval is 5 hours. So today I'm going to show you how I do that. The main item on the 5-hour service is oil change. So I've taken my bike for a ride, and you can see here it's nice and warm, 68 degrees C. So it's ready for the oil to be changed. To do the oil change, I'm going to be using the Tokyo Offroad oil drain tool. This screws into the oil drain and allows you to leave the skid plate on and not get oil over everything. So it's really handy, and for me it saves a lot of time. To take the oil drain out, you need a 13mm socket, and a deep socket is handy for that. And then new oil, I use Motorex Topspeed 1550 weight. And you'll need a container for the old oil. You can use an oil drain pan, or if you have an old container, you can put it directly into that. And when I put new oil in, I use a measuring jug like this and measure out 800 milliliters and then just pour that into the clutch cover. I know some people prefer to take out the oil level bolt, fill it with oil until it comes out of the oil level. That takes a little bit more time, and I found that measuring out 800 milliliters works fine and saves some time, so that's the way I do it. And when you replace the oil drain bolts, I always use a new copper washer. They're very cheap, and really isn't worth trying to save any money there when it only costs a few cents. So I recommend using a new copper washer every time. And if you're using the oil drain tool, the first thing you want to do is lean the bike over. So for 2017 later bikes, you want to lean it over to the right. If you have a carb model bike, make sure you turn the gas off, otherwise it'll come pouring out. The next step is to remove the oil drain, and on the 17 and later models it's located here, including TPI, and it's buried down inside quite a long way. That's one reason you need a deep socket, and you should be able to loosen it fairly easily. And then you can go ahead and remove it fully. The drain has a copper washer, so make sure you remove the copper washer with the drain. And that's what it looks like after 4 hours. So this is a new bike. It's had 4 hours, one ride on it. So it's got quite a bit of debris stuck to the magnetic plug. So it's definitely a good idea to do a change oil after about this many hours. And here's a closer look at the debris. And I'm going to wipe it off. So when you do this, you should inspect the debris, and if there's any large chunks of metal, that's not good. So hopefully it'll all be fine. And each time you do an oil change, definitely a good idea to inspect the debris. And luckily I can't see any chunks of metal at all, so it's all very fine, which is a very good sign. And the next step is to install the Tokyo Offroad oil drain tool, and make sure it has the O-ring installed, otherwise it'll leak oil. And the tube, I like to use a zip tie to hold it in place. Once you have the oil drain tool installed, you can stand the bike up and put it on the side stand. And I thought it'd be interesting to see the state of the oil. So I've prepared a clean stainless steel drain pan, and I'm going to drain the oil out into that. Then once you've finished draining the oil, you can lean the bike over again. And here you can see the used oil. I'll move it around a little bit, and you can see when it thins what sort of color it is. But it is pretty dark, and definitely a good idea to change the oil after the first ride. Then you can remove the oil drain tool. And replace the drain bolt. And as I mentioned before, I always put a new copper washer in. Make sure the sealing surface is clean as well, there's no debris on there. And then the drain bolt needs to be torqued to 20 Newton meters. And then you can stand the bike up again. Now you're ready to put in new oil. So I have an aftermarket filler which requires a wrench. If you have the standard KTM ones, you can do it with your fingers or some pliers. And make sure the O-ring is in good condition. And then add your oil. So as I mentioned before, I measure out 800 milliliters of oil and just pour that in. Just replace the filler cap. And these don't need to be torqued very high, just so they don't come loose. So that's the oil change complete, and there were no major issues with that, which was good. Other than that, I did a couple of checks which aren't mentioned in the maintenance schedule, but I thought was a good idea. So I checked the radiator level, that was fine. I also rechecked the spoke tension, and a couple of the spokes were loose, so it's a very good idea until they settle down for the first couple of rides to check the spoke tension. And then I added some two-stroke oil and lubed the chain, and that's about it. So I'm ready for my next ride tomorrow, and really looking forward to it.